The timeline is critical to understanding animation inside of After Effects. And it's really simple actually. The timeline is simply the way that you can view in real time the things that are happening in your comp. And you can see that right up here. So if I scrub this yellow guy right here called the current time indicator, I can scrub through an animation. And we could see the frames playing back right here. And we can see the position, scale, rotation, and opacity, which are being animated in real time as well. And we'll talk about this in this section. These little dots that we're looking at, these are your keyframes. And once again, we'll talk about these guys, what they are and how they function as well in this section. They all go hand in hand with creating and editing animation. So once again, I can scrub the timeline and I can see where I am as far as the seconds in my time ruler. I have a work area that I can grab this little yellow bar here. So I can just focus on what I want to. So let's say, for example, I want to only play back just this stuff here. I'll go ahead and rewind, press play. And the playback only occurs in the specified work area. Now, this is very handy when you want to edit things that are giving you problems. So let's say, for example, you have a pretty long animation, all right, 30 seconds. And instead of watching the entire thing, hoping that you catch that one thing that's driving you crazy, you can simply grab either end of the work area and simply play this over and over again. And you can really see what's going on in your animation and how to fix it. Now, another thing we can do is we can work with the transport controls, because instead of just manually scrubbing like I'm doing here, sometimes you want to sit back and with a critical eye really gauge what's happening. So like a VCR, which I think is now going way out of style, we can go ahead and press this button here to go to the first frame of our animation, which means if I'm over here, I can click on this button and it snaps to the first frame. Likewise, this one goes to the last frame. This button here will go to the previous frame. And it's going to take forever, of course, when you do that. But you'll see the current time indicator is moving one frame at a time backwards. And of course, this one goes to the next frame. When I want to play normally, I go ahead and press this button. And when I want to change how I'm looking at my animation, I can go over here. Now, when I click on this button here, it will change how the playback occurs. And we have something called a loop, which means it keeps playing, a play once, and a ping pong, which means it goes back and forth. It's a little weird, but when you rewind it and press ping pong, it's going to go to the last part of that and go backwards over and over again. Once again, just a tool that you can use to gauge your animation, or to drive people crazy, or hypnotize them. You're getting sleepy, very sleepy. So that is a quick look at the timeline. We're going to be spending some quality time here because this is where we're going to be doing all of our animation. So just play around with the tools, get a feel for them. And once again, this is a look at the timeline and how it's used inside of After Effects.